I would like to call to order Redevelopment Commission meeting for March 11th, Thursday, March 11th, 2021. And we do have a quorum available. We do have a quorum at the moment. And Joe, do you have a statement that you need to read prior to us starting?
Yes, I do. Thank you. The public is invited to attend meetings of the RDC. The RDC may impose reasonable restrictions on numbers of attendees to control audience density in consideration of the existing COVID-19 national emergency. The public may participate remotely by dialing 463-777-8704 and entering PIN number 656079. Additionally, if you'd like to provide comments remotely, please email them to jmurphy@cityoflawrence.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Next on our agenda, I am assuming everyone has received and has reviewed the minutes from the February 11th meeting. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns on those minutes? And if not, may I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second for approval of minutes. We'll do a roll call vote for approval. David Blunt.
Approved.
Jerry Clifford.
Approved.
Cheryl Sullivan.
Approved.
Ray Rohana.
Approved.
Melissa Swindell.
Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Is Jason available? Does anyone know? Joe, is Jason here?
No, Jason is not available. However, if you do have specific questions about anything in the vouchers for this month, I think that Dan and I are fairly equipped to answer what they are about.
And Jason did stop by my office to let me know and to share with you that the financial outlook for the year has not changed any in the last 30 days. We're right where we were and right where we were forecasted to be.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions, concerns on the claims and purchase orders that were sent to you a few days ago?
No.
And if not, can I have a motion for approval, please?
Motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second for approval of claims. We'll do a roll call vote for approval. David Blunt.
Approved.
Jerry Clifford.
Approved.
Cheryl Sullivan.
Approved.
Ray Rohana.
Approved.
Thank you. Melissa Swindell.
Approved.
Thank you. We have what I think is a pretty exciting meeting today. It's a pretty packed agenda, but Dan typically can get through this pretty quick. But I'm excited about what we'll be sharing with the public, and I'm excited about the things that are going on. So Dan, if you would, please go ahead and take over for the old business and new business.
Thank you, President Blount. So, Trades District Master Plan update. We have been largely through the stakeholder meetings relative to the master plan. We did invite counselors from the Common Council to participate. We've had a lot of input. We've had a number of owners and business operators. It's really been pretty amazing what's come out of that. We had some of you participated as well. I'm grateful for that. It's been a very, very good experience, and we expect to be reporting to you on the outcome of that at our next meeting. A couple of weeks after, 2 to 3 weeks after that, we're expecting to have a public information session here in this very room, assuming COVID allows. We will be sending personal invitations out to all the property owners within the trades district and other key people. We expect that to happen somewhere near the end of April. 4711 German Church Road, you will all recall that we offered that property for sale per the statutes and did not get any offers last month. That property is being advertised for $95,000 for the approximately 2.5, 3 acres. Buildings have been demolished. It's ready for development. I've instructed Joe to hold to that price, and that anyone who wants to bring a bona fide offer in will consider the offer as to whether it's good for the city and the Redevelopment Commission in whatever form it may be. And we are still getting quite a bit of attention on that just from our sign. And should any of you have any questions about any of these things, feel free to interject. The next major thing we're here to discuss is the 4400 Block 3 parcels we offered that we got 2 offers on last month. You should have in your packet a comparison that I provided relative to those offers. It's my recommendation that we accept the property's offer as it came from Stern and Stern Properties Incorporated. I've had our counsel, Mr. Donaldson, and his partner, Mr. Harding, review the offer. We all find it fully compliant. You can see all the various things relative to that offer, the fact that they did submit plans to their scope of work, a timetable, all those sort of things are here. You notice that we didn't get any of those things from the other developer, and the offer that we got from Stern & Stern was $76,000, the other was $58,000. So I would like to have a motion from this group to accept the Stern & Stern Properties offer and to authorize Mr. Donaldson to complete the purchase and sale agreement on our behalf.
And just for the commissioners, I'd amend that slightly to say that you were sent out resolution number 2-2021. That is the action that we'll be requesting that you act on tonight, that you approve that resolution, which does exactly what Dan just illustrated.
Appreciate the clarification. So we have that resolution on the table that we need to take care of. And Bruce, if you need to interject here, feel free to do so.
Nope, I think that's a good summary of the resolution. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2-2021.
Second the motion.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion, a second for approval of resolution number 2-2021. We'll do a roll call vote. David Blunt,
Approve.
Jerry Clifford,
Approved.
Cheryl Sullivan,
Approved.
Ray Rohana,
Approved.
Melissa Swindell.
Approved.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, next on the agenda, wanted to share with you, last month you approved us entering into an agreement with Christopher Burke to do a wetlands drainage study on behalf of the Kaido family and NIDCO, Northeast Industrial Development Corporation, to be able to combine their parcels that they own over there on the other side of the interstate to hopefully end up with a 30 to 40 acre developable parcel, of which we will be reimbursed at the time the parcels are sold for that work. Mr. Donaldson and his partner, Mr. Harding, have been successful, and David has signed, as have the 2 property owners. The access agreement was necessary to make that happen, and it will be recorded tomorrow, and David will be signing the Christopher Burke engineering agreement so we can move forward with that and probably give notice to proceed on that no later than Monday. Any questions relative to that matter?
None.
4399 Shadeland Access Agreement. 4399 is the parcel immediately adjacent to the 4423 parcel we sold to Stryker Drone Deck last month. One of the conditions that came up as closing is they needed the access available from the 4399 parcel, at least in the interim while they're doing construction, and would like to have it permanently. They requested an easement, which I refused, because I didn't want to put this commission in a position not knowing exactly what we want to do with that parcel down the road. But what I have agreed to is to give them unlimited access onto Shadeland via that parcel. I believe, Bruce, the way we structured that was a 5-year, basically a 5-year agreement that automatically renewable unless either partner came up within a certain time frame ahead of that and wanted to cancel. We can cancel at any point in time should we develop it. They have to provide us as additional insured and other things to be sure we don't hang a liability. We do not have to pay any money to maintain it. It's merely a matter of convenience that we're sharing with a good partner to let them have better use of the facility they just bought from us on property we already own. So Bruce, if you would like to summarize that anymore and state the motion that we need to have to accept that agreement.
Yeah, I'd just add that this is we call it a temporary license agreement. And as Dan said, we did not give an easement, which would actually be an interest in real estate. A license is not an interest in real estate. It's just a sort of a temporary right to use it. And I think it's 30 days. On 30 days notice, we can cancel that at any time. So not too much risk, especially also with us being covered by the insurance and everything on their use.
So would you like to frame the motion for somebody we hopefully will offer, Bruce?
I'd like to
Yeah, I
make
think
a
we just need
motion for the temporary licensing, approval of the temporary licensing agreement.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. David Blunt,
Approve.
Jerry Clifford,
Approved.
Cheryl Sullivan,
Approved.
Ray Rohana,
Approved.
Melissa
you go.
Swindell.
She didn't hear you, I don't think.
Melissa Swindell.
Approved.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. The last thing under old business is just to bring you up to date. We are anticipating the closing of the drone deck to officially occur on the 15th. For some reason, in my mind, I actually thought it was the 16th, Bruce, but nonetheless, Monday or Tuesday, that project will be totally closed and that building will be sold, and we'll be moving on down the road. And I will share with you that there are a lot of exciting things with Drone Deck in the works for the city of Lawrence because of your efforts. We have agreed to be a pilot program for them and their new docking station. A lot of publicity is going to come out of that. You'll hear a lot more about that in the coming weeks. It's very exciting. Under new business, the first item is a terrible eyesore and liability for all of us at 4447 Franklin Road. That's a huge old house that many of you have seen and commented on. I know, David, you and Jerry both commented on that to me over the years. It's empty. It's all grown up with trees and debris around it and stones, and it's just a horrible blight on the community. It's one of three houses that when Frank's Peak and Amerifence went to buy all those parcels they did from the Boring Trust and the CDC to accumulate that real estate to expand their business off of Franklin. And it's also where their new headquarters building or their new office and showroom will be built. There had been some commitments made by my predecessor to do the demolition of those houses and provide three-phase electricity to the property. They couldn't wait long enough. They took a couple of those parcels down, properties down already in good faith. They've hired the engineering firms that we've recommended to demonstrate good faith as to what they're going to do. They've paid for the three-phase electricity. They had a meeting with Poindexter Excavating here last week to look at how they can privacy fence and berm and landscape that to look so much better than it does now. They've presented me plans for the painting of the old buildings as soon as the weather breaks. So the two things that I've suggested that we do on their behalf is help them get an access up around the 4600 block where we own a piece of property and one maybe be able to bought to get a second entrance in there for their trucks. The other incentive would be for us to tear this old house down on their behalf, which we'd sort of committed to do in the letter I saw a couple of years ago. The total cost of tearing the house down is $31,970. I think it's worth that for us just to remove the liability that exists there to the city. Additionally, it's my proposal to you that we do this as a reimbursement, that we don't sign the actual demo contract itself. We agree to reimburse Amerifence not to exceed $31,970 for the removal of this house and all the debris around it, subject to my approval to be sure we get what we think we're going to get for our money. Once it comes down, I can inspect it, and we'll do it as a reimbursement once Amerifence presents the bill to us. That's my proposal. So I'm asking you to consider that, please.
Dan, are you looking for a motion here?
Yes, I'm looking for a motion
Thank you.
to reimburse.
I would move that we accept Dan's proposal and recommendation concerning the removal of the property at 4447 North Franklin Road, and that we look to Dan to manage that activity to ensure that we get our money's worth, as I think you put it.
The other reason for that approach is a little more discussion is that the proposal from the demolition company requires half down, half a completion. We don't want to get in the middle of all that. Let's just reimburse it once the work's complete.
Dan, I'd like to comment on it, but I'm having a hard time. I had a hard time hearing what you said. So if somebody else is clear on what we need to do with this motion, please jump in.
Your motion's fine, other than we just want to say that it's a reimbursement to Amerifence once they present an invoice, and we've approved that the work is satisfactory to the city.
Okay, that's fine. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion to second now. We will do a roll call vote for approval. David Blunt.
Approved.
Jerry Clifford.
Approved.
Cheryl Sullivan.
Approved.
Ray Rohana.
Approved.
Melissa Swindell.
Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Next, we have good news and bad news. We're ready to close after all these years and hundreds of thousands of dollars investment on the Freegee property next week, within the next 3 or 4 days, actually. But as a condition of that closing, we discovered a few weeks ago that there's an active AT&T fiber line right through the middle of the property where their building is supposed to be built, and Plummer Street is supposed to be relocated. And as part of the agreement we gave with Freegee early on, it was a clean site, meaning it was fully buildable at no expense to them to build on the site. There is a clause where if we do not allow them or have them positioned to build by the early June, we would owe them $230,000, and they can back out after we've spent all this work and effort. So in my mind, we don't have any choice but to step up and be prepared and pay this invoice so this work can happen. We do not know what the full extent of the cost will be, and we won't know until a $500 deposit is paid by the owner, which he's ready to do immediately on closing. That'll allow engineering to occur, a scope, schedule, and cost to be developed that somebody can sign off on and get this stuff moved in the next 30 to 60 days. Ray Cox does have an intimate relationship with some key people at AT&T, and they're working to help us, and I think they will minimize the impact of this. But the costs could be as much as $100,000. Freegee's asked us to make surety to them upon closing that we will cover this cost, and my agreement with Freegee is we'll cover up to $100,000. Anything over that is theirs. We couldn't just give them a blank check. And I don't see that we have any choice but to get this done and get this behind us, and the project's going to be so huge, and our whole city and trades district initiative is counting on this, and we've already spent, like I say, probably $500,000 if the truth is known. So I'm requesting that that you as counselors approve the relocation of the AT&T fiber or AT&T communications lines running along Plummer Street for the Freegee project, not to exceed $100,000.
So the motion would be to approve the relocation of the fiber line along Plummer Street to allow the Frigi project, the construction project to proceed.
Yes, technically, I think we should say communications lines as opposed to fiber, because I know part of it's fiber, part of it's is copper.
Fiber line, okay. I'm sorry, I thought you said fiber earlier.
Communications line would be the technical term.
That would be fine. Okay. So it's a relocation of the facility. And the cost would be not to exceed $100,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So the motion has been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All right, we have a second. We'll do a roll call vote for approval. David Blunt,
Approve.
Jerry Clifford,
Approved.
Cheryl Sullivan,
Approved.
Ray Rohana,
Approved.
Melissa Swindell.
Approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, Melissa, and Ray. So the last item on new business, I know that the Crediplex project is near and dear to a lot of you, and we hate to see it go down, but it's obviously a big, beautiful facility that needs to be revitalized to have a continued purpose to serve this community. Right now, one of the big lingering issues is that anybody that comes to look at that property that is savvy at all, and anybody that's going to buy that size property has pretty savvy counsel, the known environmental conditions of Impro and that Myers face next door is going to cause them to have to be able to defend that their site is clean. Phase 1 picked that up as a matter of fact, and Phase 2 is recommended at a cost of $27,412 with Bruce Carter Associates, who's been our environmental firm doing the work. We have the approximately $215,000, something like that, sitting in our environmental fund right now from the EPA. The EPA gave me authorization yesterday that we could use that grant funding to cover this cost. So I'm requesting this council to, or this commission to approve the commissioning of a Phase 2 investigation for 6002 Sunnyside Road, formerly in Crediplex, in the amount of $27,412 to be reimbursed by the EPA through our grant funds.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of Phase 2 investigation in the amount not to exceed $27,000 that would be taken out of the EPA grant.
I'm sorry, Cheryl, it's $27,412.
27,000, not to exceed 27.5.
Thank you very much. That's perfect.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. David Blunt,
Approved.
Jerry Clifford,
Approved.
Cheryl Sullivan,
Approved.
Ray Rohana,
Approved.
Melissa Swindell.
Approved.
Great.
So that's the bulk of the new business. I will share with you that on the economic development front, Joe and I have been extremely busy. We're handling call after call for people interested in locating in Lawrence right now. Some of them we can help, some of them we can't. We had one yesterday for a major high-density housing development that we just don't have the sewage capacity and stormwater capacity to handle. But we are getting calls virtually every day on new projects right now, and it's a very exciting time for the city. And you all have played a really important role in that. We did meet with Ray's Distribution, or Ray's, I'm gonna let I have that right, Ray's the current Monarch, the new Monarch group a week or so ago and discussed their property out in front of their building. We have had continued discussion with the Corhans about some new development along Pendleton Pike. We actually had some discussion this week you'd all find of interesting relative to the old car wash property for some potential development. There's just a lot of great things going on right now, and it's fun to have you all pitching with us to make this stuff happen. I really appreciate your support. So with that, I'll take any questions or comments. Mr. Donaldson, is our counsel, anything from you?
Nothing from me.
Anyone else?
Dan, I do have one comment. I went to breakfast this morning at the fort it's been a few weeks, but those apartments are going up so fast.
Yeah.
So fast, which makes me excited. And the hotel there's a lot of people out there working. So yeah, I'm excited for Lawrence for right now, so.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we thank you all very much. Be safe and have a good evening. I look forward to being able to see you all in person soon.
All right. If there's nothing else to come before the commission, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
And seconded.
All right, we'll do a roll call for adjournment. David Blunt,
Approved.
Jerry Clifford,
Approved.
Cheryl Sullivan,
Approved.
Ray Rohana,
Approved.
Melissa Swindell.
Approved.
Thank you all very much.
Hello, Mr. Friege. Hope you're all right as well.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Meeting adjourned.